What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Tim Sports Talk, and we got another victory for the Washington football team on this Monday night, and man, oh man, was it a football game. I mean, the ups and downs of this game, the weird twists and turns, and the penalties, and the first downs, and the lead changes. This game basically had it all, it felt like. I mean, good night almighty. This was a weird, hard-fought Monday night nitty-gritty football game for the Washington football team to come out on top 17-15. I mean, where do you even start in a game like this? I mean, I'd like this right here. This is my start. Time of possession. You guys know I love time of possession. 41 minutes and 40 seconds of time of possession. Over 2/3 of the football game, the Washington football team had the ball in their hands. But, geez, that's just one stat. You could just go down the list. But, man, Antonio Gibson finally had a 100-yard game. I don't even remember the last time he had a 100-yard game, if I'm being honest. But, man, 29 carries, 111 yards. J.D. McKissic had another nice day as that spell back roll, third down back roll. He had a touchdown on the ground and a touchdown through the air. But he did go out with an injury. I'm afraid it might be a concussion. That seems to be what it looks like. But he had another huge day. He was the only one to put touchdowns on the board for us. And, yeah, Terry McLaurin had a drop, unfortunately, downfield. He kind of couldn't quite track the ball with the corner and whatnot, but he still could have caught it. Man, Russell Wilson, he was off tonight. Russell Wilson was off tonight, all right? Like, it wasn't so much what the defense was doing for us either. Like, we did a couple of good things. We forced the fumble against Allen Collins. That was huge by Landon Collins. Absolutely huge. We got off the field quite well on third downs. We only allowed 4 for 12 on third down. Not bad there. And I think all 4 of the third downs honestly came on their touchdown drives. I think they had 2 third downs on the last drive and the 2 third downs earlier in the first quarter, where they basically that's the only time they were converting on third down. The second and third quarter, we really did a good job on those. But at the same time, Russell was just missing people. I mean, DK Metcalf absolutely punked William Jackson on one play on a 3rd and short, and he decided to go to Lockett and nearly threw a pick. Then there was another play where he took a deep shot to DK Metcalf, and I think it was Swain just absolutely sitting wide open in the middle of the field. And when I say wide open, I'm talking like literally 15 yards of separation. I mean, for some reason, you know, Cameron Curl and Bobby McCain are like a million yards back, and the linebackers are basically at the line of scrimmage, and he's just sitting like 18 yards downfield, like wide open, and Russell completely misses him and takes a deep shot at a double-covered DK Metcalf. But it was just not the best game for Russell Wilson, but yet they still almost came out with a tie game going into overtime. And the reason it was such a close game, Washington had a chance to ice this game out. But special teams, and guess what? Another kicking debacle in this team. It's crazy. But this time, Joey Sly ends up getting hurt as he kicked a field goal. Actually, I think it was actually as he kicked a kickoff. He kind of pulled his hammy. Then he came on to kick the field goal. It was a bad snap by Cheeseman, the rookie. He kind of caught it to the side, Tress Way, put it down, and it was kind of a pathetic attempt at a field goal, and it ends up getting blocked. It was actually a PAT, got blocked. Then it was returned by Seattle. So it was a 7-3 game, Seattle on top. J.D. McKissic scores his first touchdown. We go up 9-7 right before the halftime. And then we allow a PAT block returned, and then they score 2 points because it's now allowed to return PATs, and it's a 9-9 football game. What? Right? It's a crazy scenario. But as Joey Sly was running downfield after the blocked PAT, he ends up sliding to the ground, and he must have pulled his hammy pretty bad. He kind of grabbed his back of his legs, and that's not good for a kicker. You don't really want to hurt your legs when you're a kicker, right? Why can't we get like a broken collarbone or something like that? No, we get a pulled hammy. So That was in the first half, right before the half, right? Well, now we don't have a kicker for the rest of the game. And some people are saying in my chat, hey, Tress Way can kick field goals. Tress Way can kick field goals. The problem is, he's the holder. So now who's going to be the holder? And he's a left-footed kicker. So now you need a left-handed, basically, holder because they have to catch it and hold it with their left hand. So how many players on that do you have that has experience with holding a field goal and has experience enough with their left hand or is left-handed? Right? Like, that's going to be super rare to find on a 53-man roster that's not hired for that job, right? It's super rare. So, now we don't have him for the rest of the game. Tress Way is kicking the kickoffs. He's not doing great at it, honestly. He doesn't have a booming leg for kickoffs, I guess, because he did not kick any out of the back of the end zone. But that was okay. We didn't have any big gaffes there. But where it really came into play was after we scored our next touchdown, we had to go for 2, which proved to be huge because that was the difference in the game, and we got it. J.D. McKissick ran the touchdown. Antonio Gibson ran the 2-point conversion, so that was big. Fast forward to the end of the game, we have another back-breaking long drive to ice this game nearly. It should have been ice if we had a kicker. But look at this drive at the end. A 9-minute, 25-second drive. No, sorry, that's the other one. An 8-minute, 37-minute drive. Right? 8 minutes and 37 seconds. I can't talk. Drive that should have iced this game. Problem is, we got inside the 10-yard line and we have no field goal kicker and we fail on 4th and 4. This should be a 20-9 game over. It doesn't matter what Seattle does. Instead, they get the ball back on their own 3.5-yard line, 96.5 yards to try to tie this game. And what do? They go 96.5 yards in 10 plays. And actually, step back one thing. We had a chance to really run down the clock. Seahawks used their timeouts and everything. Antonio Gibson runs up the middle. It looks like he's going to get tackled and they wind it down to the 2-minute warning. And instead, he bounces off a tackler, spins around to the outside, and he ends up running out of bounds. He gets all the way out of bounds, which stops the clock. Now Russell Wilson and the company have more time on the clock, which would have ended the game much sooner if that wasn't the case, because you would have been able to run the ball one more time. And then all of a sudden, now they only have 1 minute and 10 seconds with no timeouts to try to run the distance of the field, right? Which that would have been a whole different ballgame because they didn't score a touchdown until 15 seconds left in the game. So now they score the touchdown. After all of that, they do drive down the field, and it's like a 35-yard strike to Freddie Swain, who actually scored the touchdown, left wide open. Cameron Curl was on the one side. He was favoring DK Metcalf to make sure he didn't get it. And then it was on Cameron Curl's side of the field. But then, of course, Shazer Everett playing cover 2 on the other side didn't come over and help there. I don't even know. He may have had a receiver on his side too. Great play call for them. Bad play call for us. Where's the cover 4? Where's the cover 3? Why are we acting like we need to play cover 2 in that kind of a situation? Yeah, they're driving down your throat, but you still have to continue to put guys back there, right? But anyway, because it was also a zone. Didn't want to play any zone, especially in key downs. Sure enough, we go to zone, beats the zone easily. All right, Freddie Swain scores the touchdown. What a play by Kendall Fuller. They go for the 2-point conversion. Russell Wilson has all the time in the world. No pressure there, which was actually pretty much a big deal all game. We didn't get a lot of pressure on Wilson. But all the time in the world to find a guy, and he pulls the 2015 Super Bowl, whatever it was, 2014, 2015, and he throws an interception to Malcolm Butler. Just kidding. Kendall Fuller. Oh, man, I'm really combining names now. Kendall Fuller gets the interception, and you think, the game's iced. 15 seconds left. It's over, right? Well, we're only up by 2. They go for the onside kick. Crap. Okay. Just got to recover the onside kick. Jason Myers is the kicker, and he comes up, and he acts like he's kicking it to the right, He then comes up and fakes it and kicks it to the left. The bounce on this thing was incredible, dudes. Incredible. Kunajek had to dive under it because if he touched it, that means they could recover it. Dive under it, and then it's the backup that has, I think it's Apke has a chance at the ball. He doesn't get it. Seattle gets the onside kick. Now they have 15 seconds on their own 45, and all they need is a 20-yard play, spike it, or out of bounds, and they're right there in field goal range. They get in this game. So now we're like, oh my gosh, we're going to lose this game by 1 point. A late flag comes out. It was an illegal formation on the Seahawks, completely negating the onside kick. Just negated it. Now they had to move back 5 yards, and because the Seahawks got the ball, you had to accept the penalty, and now they have another chance at an onside kick. This game was so out of control. So now they have an onside kick. The second one basically bounces the exact same way and they do the exact same thing. What a kick. Jason Myers is good at those onside kicks. But Kunajek completely dodges it again, and then it was, I believe it was DeAndre Carter? No, it was Adam Humphries. Adam Humphries gets the recovery. Game over. Washington goes in victory, and the rest is history. 17-15. I mean, this was a nitty-gritty game, as I said. This was an ugly game. It wasn't pretty on a cold night in D.C. Taylor Heinke, though, he has been incredible on the completion percentage. He's not really doing anything deep downfield. You know, he took maybe 2 or 3 shots, and none of them were completed this game. But 27 for 35, 223 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. The interception was a great throw, though. It was a great throw right to Logan Thomas, and Quandre Diggs made an incredible play. How he hit Logan Thomas was textbook to not get a pass interference call or a hitting defenseless receiver call is what I meant. Because he hit him right with his shoulder, right in the gut, like the chest area, hit the ball, popped it up in the air, and Jamal Adams comes down with the interception. What a play that was. I mean, as I said, you could talk about this game for a long time because there's so many ins and outs and weird things that happen and this and that. It was a really weird, strange game. But guess what? A win's a win's a win's a win. All of them count the same. If you end up with more points on the board than your opponent, it goes in that win column +1, just like every other win, right? Whether you win by an inch or a mile, doesn't matter. So we win, and now let's take a look at this. The NFL playoff picture. Guess who's in the playoffs? Playoffs? Talking about playoffs? Washington sits at the 7th seed. Look at this right here. Wins the tiebreak over Atlanta and Minnesota based on the best win percentage in conference games. Division tiebreak was initially used to eliminate the New Orleans Saints. Atlanta wins the tiebreak over New Orleans based on head-to-head win percentage. So it's interesting how they did that. But so they win the tiebreak because the best win percentage in conference games, not division games, which is interesting also because we're 2-0 in the division now. No, sorry, we're 1-0 in the division. But Minnesota is 2-0 in the division, so they would have a better win percentage. But I guess it's the same win percentage because they're both 1-0. Even though I would think that the 2-0 would get them ahead, but it doesn't matter now because now this win over the Seahawks gives us the better conference record at 5-2, and that is what gives us the tiebreaker. The next tiebreaker after that is strength of schedule, which would give the Minnesota Vikings a slight edge, actually, at 5-3-6 instead of a 5-2-8, but it doesn't get there yet. It's still a conference record. So somebody asked me to take a look at, kind of go over the potential playoff, outcomes down the stretch. So Washington next week has the Raiders, and then we have 5 division games in a row. That's going to be huge, obviously. 5 in a row at the end of the year is just insane. Somebody forgot they were doing the Washington football team schedule, and they were like, oh, crap. Where's the division games? Like, oh, shoot. All right, well, we'll just throw them at the end of the year. Who cares? But, all right. That's the Washington schedule, which is actually a favorable schedule. We have no Darren Waller for the Raiders next week. They did just beat Dallas, but they're not some great football team. They've got some good weapons. I like Derek Carr, but they lose their best weapon in Darren Waller. Josh Jacobs is a great running back. But the thing about the Raiders is they are not disciplined at all. I mean, Alex Leatherwood is like the most penalized player in the league right now. I mean, but down the board, they are one of the most non-disciplined teams, and they get so many penalties. So you could totally beat the Raiders as the Washington football team, and then everybody in the division's beatable. Obviously the Cowboys are the best team in the division right now, but they're totally beatable. Especially with how we play. We run the football. We play hard-nosed defense. Especially with how we play, we could totally beat the Dallas Cowboys. But who knows? We'll see how that goes. Now, let's take a look here. I didn't look at the other schedules, but let's take a look at the other schedules to see. All right, Minnesota has an easy one, quote-unquote. It is a division game against the Lions. Then they have the Steelers, the Bears, the Rams, the Packers, and the Bears again. So they have the Bears twice, but the Rams, Packers, and the Steelers are not walkovers. I mean, they should be favored in the Steelers game, but again, they don't have Dalvin Cook. They will get Alexander Mattison, though. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting end-of-the-year schedule. These two are super tough, especially considering these two teams are going to be fighting towards the end of the year for who's going to get the number one seed or, who gets the seeding in the playoffs. That's going to be really dependent on these last couple of games. So it's going to be tough to beat the Rams and the Packers. But I would say they have 4 pretty winnable games and then a tough one against the Steelers. But then the other 3-1 are division games, which those are wild. You never know what's going to happen in those types of games. Now, so that's the Vikings. Let's go back to the Falcons, who are sitting 5-6. The Falcons are another team that's crazy, but we already have the win over them, the edge. So we'll see how it goes. All right, Buccaneers next week. That's going to be a tough one for them. The Panthers are still a tough out. You never know which Panther team you're going to get. Another division game, though. The 49ers are also coming alive. They're 6-5 right now in the playoffs, so that's going to be an important game for the Niners. They also have the Lions, which you know how bad the Lions are. Then we got the Bills and the Saints to end the year. That Saints game is going to be absolutely huge, considering both teams are right there in the playoff hunt. And speaking of the Saints, that's the other team tied up right now at 5-6. Take one more chance here, or one more look, I should say. They have the Cowboys, who are coming off the loss, actually 2 losses in a row, I think, and they're on a 4-game losing streak themselves. Jets, that should be a win for the Saints pretty easily with Sean Payton. Buccaneers, that's going to be tough with Trevor Siemian. They did beat him, I think, actually, with Trevor Siemian earlier, but I think Tom Brady's going to come alive towards the end of the year. The Dolphins had a big win this week. The Panthers again, and the Falcons to the end of the year. I think they can win that Falcons game. So who do I have as the best chance to come out on top? And granted, the Eagles and the Panthers aren't dead yet either. Right? I made a bold prediction earlier that I thought the Eagles were going to make the playoffs, but losing to the Giants was a big hit on their schedule. But looking at it, thinking about the schedules, if I'm being honest, I think the Vikings have the best chance, even with no Dalvin Cook. They still have Kirk Cousins, who's a solid quarterback, probably one of the better quarterbacks out of the 4 teams. I mean, I love Heinke, but I know that Kirk Cousins is overpaid, but I would still say Kirk is better than Heinke. You just can't pay that much money to Kirk. So I would say the Vikings, though, because they do have Adam Thielen. They do have Justin Jefferson. They're also well coached with Mike Zimmer. They just beat the Packers team 2 weeks ago. They did lose to the Niners, which was tough. But I know they get basically 2 losses against the Packers and the Rams because I don't think they're sweeping the Packers this year. I don't think that's happening. But I think that's going to be 2 easy losses. But I think those other 4 are very winnable. So I think they could definitely get to 9-7. And the other teams also can get to 9-7. But I think 9-7 is what's going to win the wild card. The last wild card is 9-7. And Washington can totally get to 9-7. They already have the tie break. But it's also, how do you get to that 9-7? Do you lose a bunch of division games? Because I think the Vikings are going to win a bunch of division games. I think they're going to beat the Bears. I think they're going to beat the Bears twice, actually. And I think they're going to beat the Lions. And they already beat the Packers. So I think they're going to be 5-1 in the division. Does Washington get to 5-1 in the division? That is the big key. Because actually, do we beat Dallas? That's going to be huge. Do we sweep the Eagles? Who knows? And do we sweep the Giants? I think we're capable of all those things, but I would give the slight edge. If I was putting slight money on it, I would give the Vikings the slight edge. Not money on it, but a percentage on it. I would probably give, like, out of the 4 teams, I'd probably give like a 31% chance for the Vikings, a 28% chance for us, maybe like a 23% chance for the Falcons. No, probably not 23 for the Falcons. For the Saints, and then like a 19%. That probably doesn't add up to 100. Don't hold me to it. But if I was going to give a percentage, it would be something along those lines of what I would give for the percentages. All right, well, Washington on a 3-game win streak. Will it continue against the Raiders? Stay tuned next time. Hey, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video. Also, down in the description, there's a Discord link. Hop in our Discord and come talk some football. Also, in the description, there's another link to our second channel, the Tim and Jerry Sports Talk. If you don't mind hitting that sub button over there as well. We're trying to grow that channel. We're getting close to 100 subscribers. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching to the end of the video. Thank you guys thank you Abdullah for the donation. Thank you everybody that's donated in the past for sure. There's donation links in the description below if you want to donate on CashApp, PayPal, or Venmo. Those are all down in the description below as well. But yeah, Washington wins 17-15. The legend of Heinke continues. And until next time.